we have a lot of clients is that, yes, it's really cool to have some new technology, but if it's not helping the business become smarter or helping with operational efficiency or
No.
making the people's jobs easier, then the technology is not going to really help you.
Welcome to the Find Your Influence podcast with Anton Guinea, where we unpack all things influence and we help leaders particularly find their influence by talking to amazing humans and finding out what influence means to them, who they've been influenced by and who they have influenced. And this podcast episode, proudly sponsored by the Guinea Group of companies. The Guinea Group helps leaders upgrade, upskill, uplift their teams and their influence.
Team, for all of our listeners and viewers out there, we have got the amazing Frank Losinno.
Correct.
Beautiful. I love it when I can get the pronunciation right. Client engagement principal at IoT, who's an AI strategist at DS. Focus areas, digital transformation, IoT, love the Internet of Things. AI, love AI. We're going to do an AI agency, which is pretty exciting stuff.
Yep, cool.
Product and platform strategy, technology-led growth. But what I really love, Frank, was you talked about in here from data to decisions, building intelligent products. And I sort of thought there could be a comma on there, intelligent products that sort of line up with intelligent people or something. You know what I mean? I think you've got a real people
100%.
bring.
Yeah. Well, the products are probably only as intelligent as the people that are trying to design them and build them, right? So that's probably key. And the other one is that, we're trying to build products that are long lasting, not only products, but also businesses. So if you're not tackling the actual problem that you're trying to solve, and if there isn't a problem that's been solved in market before, then how do you have an enduring product and business? So you need to make sure you have those aligned. So yeah, it's a bit, it's unique sometimes, but it's just common sense, right? Like you're starting a new business. You look at down the street and there's like 50 coffee shops. So what makes this one different to others? So it's a variety of different things. So
wow. Okay. We're going to unpack that just very quickly though, for everyone's benefit, because I think that this is a really, really cool paragraph. Frank serves as a key executive at DS, where he leads strategic client engagement, drives transformational change on cloud native platforms, and his role aligns business objectives with advanced technology solutions and allows organizations to evolve their operating models, which I think that is really a summary of sort of what you said then.
that's right.
And it's about, so for me, that sounds like setting businesses up for success at the back end, right from the very start.
100%. I think it's really more about sometimes with these new technologies, AI is probably the most recent one, but even from an IoT perspective or building any digital product, one bit is, yes, I talked about the solving the problem and getting a product out there. But what happens to organizations is when they go full digital, the operations of the business changes as well. So how does the product influence the change in, I guess, from an operational perspective, and how do you actually make that hum? So to give a great product in market, you need to have great user experience. So from a user perspective, how can it be easy, simple, understandable, and more intuitive? And depending on the product, mobile, web, or whatever it might be, what's the point of difference? And then, how sticky is it? So you don't want to actually build a mobile app that people are going to come to once every 3 months, because probably a waste of invested money. But if you can provide insights to customers that allows them to still be engaged, but getting valuable information from whatever that might be, there's that stickiness there. So you don't actually have to always transact in an app. You just need to make sure it's useful and thoughtful, and it's actually saving the end user time or giving them information that can actually make a decision on. So it's a variety of different things. Yeah.
Perfect. I love the word stickiness. Like I was going to say to you, what makes a good app? What makes a good program? What makes technology valuable to a business owner? I think you just said then stickiness, and I think you answered that question. It saves time, which means it's saving money.
Correct. Yeah, and that's part of the conversation we have with a lot of clients is that, yes, it's really cool to have some new technology, but if it's not helping the business become smarter or helping with operational efficiency or making the people's jobs easier, then the technology is not going to really help you.
Beautiful.
So sometimes it's organizations want AI because they want AI because it's probably a directive from C-level or board. But then when it actually comes down to the people, well, how does it impact me, and how can I
Mm,
make sure that the technology actually works with me
love it.
and for me rather than me working for the technology? So that's some of those sort of mantras that we sort of stick by is to make sure that you're building something that's not only unique but is something that can actually use moving forward.
Wow. Unique works for us. I feel like I work for AI at the moment. I feel like I'm one of their best employees.
100%. I think a lot of us are, right? It's just,
Yeah.
are we using the right way? Is it valuable, or are we just spending a lot of time trying to get
Yeah,
to know it a bit more?
that's right.
So, yeah,
And
I
really.
probably treat it a little bit different. I treat it like a person or a consultant
Mm,
to actually ask it questions to give me some insights.
nice.
But yeah, I think the age of it doing something for you out of the box, probably not there yet, but it can help
Coming.
you, guide you on the way to
Yeah,
answering questions or doing something.
love it.
It's not as easy as you're clicking a button and it does it all for you. You still have to
That's right.
think. So you still need that strategic thinking. You still have to have the expertise.
Love it.
Otherwise, you won't be asking or
Mm,
prompting the right way and those sort of things too.
beautiful. And you know what? I tell you what, I'll bounce this off you, Frank.
Yep.
I feel like it's helped me with my communication because I have to command AI specifically. If I want the
Yep.
right answer, I have
Yep.
to I've got to put more time into thinking about what I'm going to write and script.
Correct. Correct. And
Now
that's
you
probably key, right?
mm, now you
Oh,
imagine, Frank,
yep.
if leaders everywhere took the approach that to get AI right and to get the right result, I need to check my communication and think about my communication. Imagine if we took that into our humans as well, and you know,
Get back to old school, right? Be a bit more respectful. Think about what you're going to say. Think about what you're going to write, and then yeah, you'll get a good answer. So what we sort of say from I guess AI or a data product or whatever it might be, it's the
Mm.
hopefully I can swear on this, but yeah, shit in, shit out. So if you're not
You can
giving
swear.
good information or you haven't got great
That's right.
information from the business perspective, that
Yeah,
data, then the results are going to be terrible. So
beautiful.
there's all that quality control, there's that data engineering perspective. So making
Love it.
sure that the information that's going in is
Beautiful.
correct or as close to correct as possible. So then the results you're going to get are going to be much higher than the rubbish that's probably in there anyway.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Thank you for sharing. So now
Sure.
let's just switch strategies a little bit for this conversation, and
Yeah.
let's go influence. So how
Yep.
did you get into IT? Who was the influencer?
Yeah, it's a good question. So originally I wanted to be in sports, sort of science, sort of, physio and whatever else.
Mm,
So the sort of story was that during year 12, was trying out for a uni position at RMIT and did my knee the week before. So I really couldn't really participate, couldn't really do anything. And I remember there was like a career advisor at high school and they're like, oh, you're a very good problem solver. Maybe you should get into this thing called IT. And I'm like, nah, that's rubbish. That's not the future. What are you talking about? So that was sort of my backup. So I went to uni doing IT stuff and programming. I'm like, that's not for me. I can't program. So I went down the other angle of more of the sort of hardware, computer servers, sysadmin sort of side of things.
mm,
And then through that journey, jumped a couple of sort of different jobs, and that
mm,
problem solving skill was always there. So sort of fell into, I guess, not just IT, but sales in the aspect of
mm,
I was a hands-on engineer fixing problems with customers, computers, and those sort of things, networks.
right.
But I think it was my how to articulate a technical problem in business terms and sort of being a technical translator for the people that weren't tech savvy. I think that
Ah,
just said naturally, like, well, you should be good, in sales. I'm like, really? I don't want to do that either. Um, so I'm doing the two things I don't want to do. So sales, technology, and yeah. But I love, I guess, solving problems and helping businesses thrive, especially trying to solve particular problems using
wow.
technology. So
Oh, that is so
yeah,
cool. So beautifully put. I didn't know there was such a role out there as a technology translator. I like that.
yeah, no, neither did I until I started actually making sense for once. So that was good. But I did find early on in the years that there were a lot
Yeah.
of people in technical roles
Right.
that didn't really understand what a lot of things meant. So rather than saying, the network router and port 27 is not working because it's doing X, Y, and Z, it's like, well, this thing doesn't work. Your computer doesn't work because there's no connectivity or whatever it might be. So
Right.
that's probably not a great example, but really
No, I
just
get it. I get it. I get it.
dumbing down the tech just to make
Yeah.
sure they understood it, to then go, okay, well, how do you fix it? Well, I'll
I
make it
love it.
work. I'll do the X, Y, and Z, and you should be up and running. So it's just that was really prominent in my early
Yeah.
years.
I thought all you had to say was turn it on and back off and off and
Yeah,
on.
no, that's
Yeah.
the famous thing is Control Delete, or just now with Macs, it's whatever it is, the little Apple, and then restart. But
Job
that probably
done.
solved 9 out of 10 problems. But yeah, that's
I
probably
love it.
everyone's go-to, right? Just restart
That's
your
right.
machine.
I've got
So
a son. I've got a son in IT. He
yep,
went in the programming route, so he
yep.
just loves language and code and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
And
So
I think it's probably a little bit different now. There's probably more languages to choose from, especially this, influx of AI.
yeah,
Back in the day, there wasn't much, right? It
that's
was
it. And
probably
he's
2 or
been
3
in it probably
languages.
10 years. And you're right, he's probably been in it 10 years now, and he's seen that change. He's just
Yeah.
joined another organisation that uses another language, so he gets
Yep.
to learn in his words, learn another programming skill and
Yeah.
language. So I thought, oh, that's good.
100%.
That's a great way to look at it.
Yeah.
Instead of being scared of it, like he's got this really open mindset, like I might as well
Yep.
just go and learn something new. So I thought that's
And I
pretty
think
cool.
that's probably the benefit with a lot of the people that work at DS, even from a
Mm,
consulting perspective. They all
mm,
like to learn.
mm.
The benefit we have is we also like to teach. So when we're building products with customers and with their developers,
Beautiful.
we try and hopefully instill a better way of working, but also help with
Nice.
capability uplift. So if there's a new language or AI or whatever it might be,
Uh-huh.
through the actual development of the product, we're
Love it.
upskilling those people so we can leave them in a better spot than where we were
Upskilling.
when
Funny you
we
should
joined.
mention that. Funny you should mention that. Does that say ups? Oh, hold on. No, I can't. I'm not. I'm not recording with my laptop. I'm recording with that there. But the word you're looking at there, that
Yep.
word there, actually says upskill. So
Upskill.
that's
Yeah.
we talk about upgrading, upskilling, and uplifting. So
Yep.
from a
And
leadership
I think
perspective.
it's important, right? Like
Mm,
it can't always be left to the skilled and expert sort of people out there that know stuff. We need to sort of instill
mm,
that skill with other people so they can then do the same. And hopefully it just follows on. They move on to another company.
that's it.
They, get a better role, and then they're
Absolutely.
teaching as well. So
I love it
yeah,
because knowledge is power only when it's
yeah,
shared. When you pass the power on, if you hold it
correct.
to yourself, it's not. It's actually not power. It's just
No,
really you being selfish with the knowledge
that's
that you
right.
got, I feel like.
Yep.
I love it. So you had this career advisor who said, well, you popped your knee.
Yep.
You won't be trying out on Monday or next week, but here's this. And you went, and here you are ending up in this career of sales, selling IT training, coaching and interpreting, translating. I love that.
Yep.
So during that whole journey, I'm guessing it wasn't linear, like sometimes we
No.
seem to think it is.
Yep.
Who did you need along the way? Did you have someone that influenced your career along the way when it got tough or when you need to make a big
Yeah,
decision?
it's funny because funny enough, my brother went down the developing path. So
Oh, yeah.
he was a dev.
Right.
Sort of seeing him sort of late nights trying to get his certs and those sort of things. And I went, no, definitely not for me.
Right.
But I think through that, also very good problem solver and those sort of things. I think through that was probably sort of my, I guess, influence being
Ah,
younger and,
right.
the IoT thing back then,
Okay.
building computers. There's always been an interest in tinkering and building things. So that was always good.
Sure.
So he was probably the start, basically, because there wasn't a lot of people going into technology when I
Right.
was there, even from
Right.
high school. They all were doing becoming a lawyer or an accountant
Right.
or whatever else it was. So IT was pretty rare.
Mm.
It was
Th-
in 94, 95.
I was going to
Uh,
say you're probably Gen X, are you? Like you were born
yeah,
in the 70s, probably.
yeah,
It
yeah.
wasn't really a career progression back then, was it?
Nah, correct. So,
Uh,
even my first job really was working IT help desk at the Alfred
there you
Hospital in Melbourne.
Oh,
So,
right.
answering phones, again, using those skills, problem solving, et cetera, et
Yeah,
cetera. And
sure.
then moved up the ranks through that and then started doing more of the system administration, setting up
Yeah.
networks,
Wow.
creating accounts, all those sort of things. So that's sort of, on the tools to then becoming what I am now, I guess, is,
Of course.
helping organizations build digital products.
Love it. Love it. And still get your problem solving hat on, looking at an organization saying, well, how can we serve? And
Correct.
then, and then at the same time, hey, by the way, you might want to learn this. I'll teach you some skills so that you're going to be better at using this product and so
Yeah,
forth.
correct. And even early on, when clients had problems with a specific thing with their computer, or whatever it was, you just leave them some instructions and go, just next time it happens, do this, this, this. So you don't have to call me
Nice.
all the time. So,
Nice.
yeah, I guess education side of things is
Love
pretty
this.
important throughout the whole journey. And now with
No,
kids, you're doing the same sort of thing. You're sort of trying to instill some sort of,
that's
well, they're
for
probably
sure.
teaching me a bit more than I can
Yeah,
teach
that's
them,
right.
but
It's a bit like that, isn't it?
um, yeah, but that similar thing, right? It's they're all playing with PowerPoint and Word and stuff, especially at
Excellent.
primary school and high school. So
That's it.
there's some things we can instill in them, but
Of course.
yeah, ensuring they learn and move forward is important.
Mate, the careers that they'll be in, Frank, I'm guessing haven't been invented yet as we
That's
well,
right. No, that's right. I have asked my daughters, "What do you want to be when you sort of grow up?" And both of them are in IT. So one wants to be a chef. The other
right.
one just
I
wants to
love
be
it.
rich. I don't know how she gets rich, but
Don't we
um,
all?
yeah, that's right. So yeah, funny enough, they actually don't want to be in technology. So but
Right.
that might change.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm,
Mate, I think in some way, shape, or form, we're all going to be in technology in 10 or 20
100%.
years, I think, in all honesty.
Yep.
I love that. So now, so your bro was a big influence, which was really,
Yep.
really cool. You
Yep.
must have looked at your bro and gone, you know what? Well, if you can do it, I can do it. You're like me. So did your
Yep.
bro lead by example, or did your bro sort of say to you, hey, Frank, I'm going to help you out. I'm going to take you under my wing. Like, what was it more of? Was it more, what do they call it, by osmosis, or was it more?
Yeah, I think it was by osmosis. Basically, he went down a different route from developing or being a developer and working
Uh-huh.
for a couple of organizations.
Right.
I went down, like I said, the sort of sysadmin, building servers and stuff, separate businesses.
Uh-huh.
And then about 20, what are we, 23 now?
Yeah.
23 years ago, he started DS with the co-founder, Clancy.
Oh,
Um, so it's their business. But
right. Cool.
early on, I did.
Yeah.
They used to work at Vic Roads
Right.
in Melbourne, and
Yeah.
my first job through high school was
Mhm.
working at Vic Roads,
Yeah, right.
changing big tapes, like the old mainframe situation and those sort of
Right.
things. So I think it's just that natural progression.
Wow.
But I think the problem solving skills probably came from my dad because
Ah.
he's obviously Italian. Dad
Mhm.
migrated to Australia, was a bricklayer, but always was good with his hands. So gardening, bricklaying, and if you sort of said, "Oh, I want to try and do X, Y, and Z," you'd actually come up with a way of actually solving that problem. So
Wow.
I think it's must be in the family. But yeah. So dad was big in that sense of getting hands on, doing stuff, working things
Nice.
out, and trying to come up with solutions to solve any problem, technical,
Love it.
non-technical, those sort of
Love it.
things. So yeah, probably those two. And then as my career progressed, there's some other people. A friend of mine in Sydney, Simon, worked with him for a couple of years and learn a
Mhm.
lot. And yeah, inspired with what he's been doing as well through his journey. So
Ah.
yeah, there's a few different
Nice.
people. And
Nice.
even now, trying to help some clients and even a couple of startups
Gotcha.
get inspired by their energy because they're trying to solve a problem. And then, yeah, just really spitballing ideas, what you should do, shouldn't do.
Love
What
it.
do you think about this?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a bit of a mixed bag, which has been good.
Oh, fantastic. And
Mm.
you are not the first person, I've got to tell you, Frank, who I ask about influence,
Mhm.
but the answer is inspiration. Like
Yep.
those two words. And I always say it starts with influence and then it goes to impact and then it
Yep.
becomes inspiration. Because I think the inspiration is when you look at someone like Simon or your bro or your dad and you go, wow, if they can do it, guess
Yep.
what?
I think it's
Maybe
a
I
it's
can
it's
too.
a it's a really good, I guess. I think I said before, by osmosis. It's really more that
Mm.
looking at what they're doing and then inadvertently sort of copying and following what they're doing anyway. So, I actually talking to someone else about
Mm.
cooking. Like, you
Ah.
know, grew up Italian family, probably don't leave until you're 50. I left a little bit early, which is good, but never really cooked at home.
Right,
What was it 2005? Moved to the UK. Was there for about 7.5 or so years,
right.
and just remembered how mum would cook stuff. So I'm like, well, I'll try that and then start cooking that way. And then on the phone from the UK, well, how do you do this? How do you do that? So I think sometimes if you're actually providing a good example, and this is to do with leadership in general, and people can see what you're doing is good and benefiting other people, they'll sort of replicate and copy.
I love it.
So that's something I try and do a lot of is, I think lead by example, but
Yes.
not strangle the person in regards to, being
Okay.
micromanaged. It's like, well, here's a bit of a pathway,
Yeah.
find your own sort of a path to doing stuff or your own adventure.
Mm.
And my mantra
Yeah.
with the team, especially, is work smarter, not harder. So how can
Nice.
you do that? And it could be technology, could not be technology.
Mm-hmm.
Getting help from people, speaking to the right people. So yeah, it's more about instilling or having the ability to instill yourself in doing things that you might not be comfortable with, but it potentially helps other people. So
Love it,
yeah,
mate. That's just such a great answer. And and I'm writing as you talk.
that's
The
right.
words that jumped out at me were role modeling,
Mhm.
leading by example. Don't micromanage. You can't. That just doesn't work. But get out of your comfort zone as well, and
Mm.
demonstrate to people that it's okay to do that. Get out of
Yeah.
their comfort zone as well. Challenge them a little bit. Now, I don't know whether you read this book or not. I've got to ask you this question because
Mhm.
everything you've said, it's like scripted from this book. Did you ever read the book at school called They're a Weird Mob? Did you ever have that? Deb just
Uh,
laughed. Did you read that, Deb?
I've read bits and pieces.
Stop it.
I don't think we
Google it.
did.
This was
Yeah,
our
look.
this was our grade 7 reading, right? And
Yep.
I fell in love with this book. It was the
Yep.
best book on the planet at that time for me.
Yep.
It was about an Italian migrant
Mhm.
who was a bricklayer
Oh, right.
who had to assimilate into an Australian culture where it didn't really speak a lot of English.
Yep.
Nino Carlotta. There you go. So
Oh,
I read
right.
that 40 years ago, and I just
Yeah,
love
wow.
the story of that book. So
I need
anyway,
to,
they're a
yeah.
weird mob. See if it's still kicking around. Yeah. Is it still kicking around? I would dead set, like I would read that again, Dad. And I read that at like age 12. I
Oh,
kid you
there's a
not.
weird mob. There you go. There you go. I think it's even a movie or a TV show.
No,
1966.
no
Yep.
way.
Yeah.
There you go. Oh, small. I'm watching that. That's such a small. It was such a big part of my. I don't know why. I don't know. I think it was more the underdog, and then
Yeah.
Nino, as this migrant, managed to pull everyone together, and he became like the role model for everyone. Like
Yep.
everyone wanted to come to Nino's place because he was a chef as well, and he had big Barbies and
Yeah.
built a
Yeah.
business. And I just everything you talked about, and I'm just like, you just took me back to like grade 7. Anyway,
And I think that's probably a inspiration for any migrant, right? Going to any country. Like that is, we talked about, taking a risk and doing something out of your comfort zone. For
Mm,
all those people that have migrated, that is probably the hardest thing to do. So,
absolutely.
we complain about moving house. They've moved countries where they're, much younger and those sort of things. So it's,
Love that.
it's crazy. It's
I
crazy.
know, and we got a lot of coaching. Like I've got a Brazilian coming tomorrow morning. Actually, I got a
Yep.
South African coming this Savi, who's migrated.
Yep.
Brazilian tomorrow morning. And I've got all these nationalities that I coach, and they've all got a story like that they've had to pack
Mm.
up they wanted to pack up a family and come
Yeah,
to the lucky country, right? And I get it,
that's right.
but I just it must be such a big job. So
Oh,
hats off
yeah.
to you, hats off to you and your dad and your
Yeah.
family. So
Thank you.
congrats. And beautiful role modeling from Dad too.
Mm.
So, who are you most proud of? Who have you, you look out at your career and you got people in
Mhm.
your organisation at DS that you've shaped, and a comment that you made probably went missed by a lot of our listeners before. You said, "I train people so they can leave and go and be better employees elsewhere." I went, "Wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty powerful."
Yep.
Who are you most proud of from an influence perspective?
I think there's a lot of people obviously within this current organization that we're sort of proud of. I think
Oh,
what we sort of see is people that start a journey with us.
yeah,
Um, we've actually got a really good tenure at the moment of people that have been here over 7 to 8 years. But then sort of seeing them sort of come in as a junior and sort
wow,
of now becoming senior and sort of seeing them sort of grow.
wow,
There's a lot of examples of that, which is pretty good.
right,
But even from even our team perspective, like technology or the IT sort of industry has been a bit challenging over the last couple of years, so we've all had
yeah,
to sort of adapt and change
of
and
course,
pivot.
yeah,
So I think for me, it's really more about seeing how people are adapting to change and how quickly we can
ah,
adapt.
okay,
Because, as you know, technology is never linear. There's all new
No.
things coming in. 2 years ago, we wouldn't have been talking about AI at all. So, just that change and speed of it has made everyone, I think, from a probably obviously global perspective,
Of
change
course.
their thinking about, well, what is this AI thing doing?
Wow.
So,
So
there's
let
a
me
few.
so let me ask you from an influence perspective then.
Yep.
You've got to help people go on that journey. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, of course, yeah. So from either people internal within the organization, customers. So,
Mm,
like I said before, a lot of them hear about it and want to implement this new technology, whatever it is. IoT
mm,
back in the day,
mm.
could have been,
A website.
Ruby or Java or a website. Mobile was a big thing. Everyone wanted a mobile app, but for no reason. It's really about ensuring that people would actually want to do something or have something to
Yep.
solve a particular problem. So,
Okay.
and a lot of my role in a sales perspective, speaking to clients, is really getting down to the nuts and bolts of the why.
Mm.
The how, I
Why
think,
did
is a little bit.
mm.
How is easy. I think. Well, I always say technology is easy, and I get consultants sort of going, "Well, it's not easy," but I think the hardest bit is finding the problem to solve with technology, because then there's there's no real product without if it's not actually solving a particular problem. So
What is the
that's
problem statement?
correct.
I love that problem to solve. That is so true, Frank. The amount of times I've heard my son say that from an
Yep.
IoT perspective, he comes and like he'll like occasionally ask me for some communication advice, and
Mhm.
he'll say, "Dad, how do I like I've got to do this thing, but I don't even know what I'm trying to do. I don't know why I'm doing it."
Yeah.
And he says, "How do I get out of them what it is, the issue?"
The issue. That's right.
And
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 then
there's some
sometimes it's like peeling an onion, right? You're
Mm,
going, well, here's my problem. You're like, okay, that's very generic. Then you start peeling the onion back. We're like, well, actually,
mm,
your real problem is something over here that is impacting what you think the problem is. So
I
sometimes,
love
yeah, the problem that they're saying they have is underlying somewhere else.
I love
So
it.
you then fill it, so try to solve the actual flow of where the problem is. So,
Because
yeah,
that's about truth.
multidimensional.
Multi-dimensional. Because it's funny, Frank, people come to us for coaching too, leadership stuff to
Yep,
work on their leadership. And, what they think they're coming for, they usually walk out with something different,
that's right.
which is really interesting.
And
Eh? It's
sometimes,
like,
yeah, it's not as obvious to you, the person that needs the, training or leadership or advice or whatever it might be of what your problem. You think you know what it is until
mm,
then. I'm assuming
mm,
you have a session and go, well, actually, it's this thing. You're like, no, I'm
that's
great
it.
at that. Well, you need to fix this bit, and then that sort of has a flow-on effect, right? So,
Of course.
yeah, that's good.
Yeah. And then what we hope, Frank, is I had a leader say to me yesterday, and this leader runs a plant in America and a beautiful
Mhm.
human. He said, Anton, I need to know what my blind spots are. And I went, that's a really powerful
Mhm.
thing to ask in coaching.
Yep,
Tell me what I'm missing, what I'm not seeing.
yep,
I
yep,
went, wow. And for a coach, that's such an amazing question because then I can sort of start guiding that conversation. "Hey,
yep.
have you thought of this? Have you thought of that? Is that approach working for you?" And like you, Frank, you'd have this real skill of not telling. It's really about asking. You sort of
Correct.
guide that conversation.
Yeah, and you try, like I said, it's like that peeling the onion. So you ask one
Mm,
question, which then potentially leads to another question, and then you keep
mm,
going again and again to try and
mm,
find that root cause or the help they need
mm,
or whatever it might be.
mm. Yeah,
Sometimes it's not as black and white. So to
agreed.
be successful, you need to make sure that you can have, and as you sort of understand, different layers to you as a person to make sure you know what's going on everywhere, but you need to instill the power to the people that you've employed to do those jobs. So otherwise, forget the micromanaging. You're just running it yourself, which is
That's right.
even worse. So,
Exactly right. Not a
yeah,
good look for a leader. That's
no,
right. Not
that's
a good
right.
look. Not a good look. Um, Mate, what a fantastic discussion. So let's talk leadership in general terms. Have
Yep,
you got in and I'm sure you have. What does leadership mean to you? Like what as a concept, as a behavior, as an action,
yep,
as a quote, even like
yep.
is it, what is it? What's leadership to you?
I think it's for me really. It's and we sort of touched on a few things, but it's really
Yeah.
the leading from example. Like if you're
Okay, lead.
doing a good job and
Yeah.
you're instilling a good culture and you're
Hmm.
instilling good behaviors, just in doing that, that's leadership. So
Yeah.
you don't actually have to have the title or anything like that. I think it's probably more about how you present yourself, how you work, good actions, good outcomes. So it's probably more that than, hey, I'm the CEO of this multi-billion-dollar business. You
Mm.
can still not be a great person, but the culture that you're instilling within the people that you've got in your business or you're helping or coaching, that's probably
Yeah.
the most important thing. So yeah, lead by example, I think is probably the main thing. I think it hasn't changed for, I don't know, what are we, 2025? So it's probably
That's
even
right.
before BC time. So I don't think it changes. I think
You're right.
there's sayings for a reason. That's why they, yeah,
That's why
stand the test of
they're
time.
evergreen. We say they're
Correct.
always around. And
Yep.
I think if we went back to say the meditations of Marcus Aurelius, for example, 2,000 years ago, we'd probably find something similar to that.
100%. Yeah,
Be the
100%.
example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about you, but I always say to my kids, "Oh, when I was your age," and they're like, "It's not
Well,
that long ago." They're like, "Oh, what in the
yeah,
olden days?" I'm like, "Well, hang on." So
yeah,
I think the funny thing is that we say that now. Our
mm,
parents used to say it. Their parents would have said it. So if you go back all those, like,
oh,
it's still important, but also yeah, for
relevant.
every
Yeah.
relevant for every sort of
Generation.
generation that's coming through. So yeah, it's funny how that
Well,
happens.
absolutely, Frank. And I remember, if you believe my old boy, he used to walk uphill to school 10 miles, and it was uphill both ways and
Yep.
up and home. So I thought, well, that's pretty tough. Twice a day up the same hill to get
Yeah, it's probably walking backwards or something. Yeah,
must have been.
it's funny how Dad says a couple of good stories too. When
Yeah.
working, he was the young kid working on in the mountains in Italy and stuff.
Right.
Walking. He was like a sheep herder, so he would take all the sheep
Right.
up to get fed and walk them back down. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, how often are we doing that? It's like once every week or two or whatever it was. And like, how long was the walk? Oh, a couple of hours and. Just different stories. I'm like, I wonder how true that is. Like, probably didn't have a watch. It just felt like a long time. So,
That's right.
but that's I think they're always good to hear because at least then you can use them, with your kids and whatever else. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's pretty
Absolutely.
funny.
Yeah, and storytelling is a great, you think of ancient cultures, Frank, that didn't
Yep,
have anything. All we had was our voice, and
yep,
it's been such an important tool. And, I think storytelling is important, mate. So I think it's
yep,
really important to hand those to.
100%.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for sharing. Hey, just as last couple of questions,
Uh-huh.
and this is a tough one for you, and I think you're going to have a pretty cool answer for this. Back in the day, and
Uh-huh.
don't call the organisations out, and I ask pretty specific, pretty particular when I ask this. Did you have any leaders back in the day where you thought, you know what, you probably should go and see Anton. You need some leadership training and coaching.
There's probably been a lot. I think,
Right.
yeah, I think the problem is that I think, like we said before, sometimes people know what they're good at and what they're bad at, but sometimes what they think they're good at is where they need the improvement, and what they're bad at
Oh,
is probably better than what they think because they're not focusing on that as much. So it's, I think,
right.
and you would probably see it, it's the balance of how do you become a better person and be balanced. But sometimes people are good, great communicators, but can't communicate.
Okay.
Some people are bad listeners, but when you think about it, they're actually hearing what you're saying. So they can repeat
Oh,
back. So I think that's what I've sort of found out of a journey. You
hmm.
have to try and work people out, but
Yeah,
then
right.
look at how you need to, I guess, engage them. So
Of
some people
course.
like, messaging and not emails, or some people like to be on the phone all the time and not have, yeah. So it's really about, sort of understanding the person, what they're good and bad about, and then how to communicate with them.
So
So
the good leaders, what I heard then was the poor leaders don't take the time to do that. They think they've got it nailed
correct.
without really understanding that every single person in your team has a different communication style.
Yep. It's like a, footy team,
Yeah, of
NRL,
course.
AFL. There's
Of
like,
course.
40 odd players on the team. They're not all the same. So the coach has
Oh,
to work at all of them and then work out
mm,
how to communicate with them. So some people you can yell at and say you're rubbish. Some people need a cuddle.
that's right.
Some
No,
people need to see, the strategy, whatever it might
that's
be.
it. That's it.
There's no difference in business.
That's
It's
right. And a
exactly
lot
the
of
same thing.
people, Frank, in 2025, and you would have found this,
Hmm?
actually need more recognition than we used to. You know,
100%.
need to be
Especially
lifted up.
now, since COVID, right? Especially
Oh,
was isolated, everyone's working from
yeah,
home. Now we're trying to get out of this remote working, come more in
yeah.
the office or whatever. But
Mm,
yeah, 100%. I think
It's
it's been good and bad. I know
yeah,
a
that's
lot of
right.
consultants early pre-COVID were like, "Oh, we'd love to work from home."
Yeah.
I'm not sure the results of that poll would be the same. Maybe some people do, but
No, that's right. Yeah.
I used to hate working. I still do, but I
Did
used to
you?
hate
Well,
working
but
from
you're a
home.
people person. You need humans. You
Yeah,
want to talk.
I want to talk to someone. Yeah, it's
That's right.
it's only so far I can go with talking to the dog because she doesn't respond. So
That's
it's
right.
yeah, tough.
Yeah, I'm hearing you, brother. I'm hearing you. We've usually got a couple of little poor buddies sitting, floating around in the office.
Yeah,
They come and give us some love when we need it. They know when we're
yeah,
down.
that's it. Yeah,
Mate, what a great chat. Thank you so much. I really
thank
appreciate that
you.
very much. And I always try to work out how I can add value. So you're going to get an email after this, Frank. I'm going to
Sure.
offer you and maybe your bro, and if your bro's got another owner, a disc profile. Have you
Mhm.
heard of disc? Oh,
DISC.
DISC.
Yep.
Are you dominant or
Oh,
direct? Are you
yes,
are
yes.
you influential?
Mhm.
Are you steady or are you conscientious? And
Conscientious. Yep.
I think for for you and maybe your bro, or if there is another owner, I think
Mhm.
you might get some value from that too. Like it tells
Yep.
you a lot about your style, but it helps you really unpack the styles of other humans, which I
Yep.
think is where the value is. So I'm going to get Deb to send you a link to that. Well, maybe we'll start with you. We'll send you a link, and if you see
Sure.
value in it, we're happy to gift you another couple. So it's
Yeah, it's
just a
beautiful.
really we use it all the time. It's a big part of our coaching and training. So
Yeah, beautiful. No, awesome.
thank you. Now,
No,
Frank, the last
thank you.
question, and you being an
Yes.
IT guy, you come
Mm.
across as a high eye on disc, right? Very personable, very people, very
Yep.
influential. But I think you're going to have some high C in your profile, which is detail, because you're an
Mhm.
IT person. So
Mhm.
you're going to have some detail. So you would have read the question set.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought you would have. I was like,
I did. Yeah, 100%. I went through. I'm like, okay, I need to have a general answer for what's 6 questions. I'm like, yeah, it's okay.
"Sure."
I've got them.
Yep.
Otherwise, I'll just make stuff up, and it's probably going to be rambling. But yes.
and look out, you reckon.
Yeah.
Um, did I stick to the script just a little? Like, did I
Yeah.
answer?
Yeah. No, you did. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. You did. You
phew.
did well.
Okay.
You
Oh,
must have done this before.
I think about 73 times, I think, and
Yeah.
counted.
Oh, jeez. Oh.
Aiming for 1,000, Frank. Like
Oh wow.
mate, but it's the most fun you can have standing up, I say, talking to other
Yep.
humans.
Yep.
Like it's been the best thing I've done in my business in 20 years. I've been in business 20 years. I've coached high-powered people. I've done a whole lot of stuff.
Yep.
But connect with humans like you. This will be, you're our third today.
Mhm.
And like I'm just so grateful that people like you will take time out of their day to
Oh, no,
talk.
thank you.
Like I learn, I'm writing consistently, and
Yep.
eventually there'll be a book in this, Frank.
Yeah. Nice.
And yeah, who would have thought that they're just
Yeah.
all great
And that's
humans
the
out there?
thing, right? You found a gap, something you enjoy doing, and you've
Yeah.
dove in, and you're like, well, actually, this is pretty cool.
Oh,
So taking the
mate,
risk, right? That's
that's it.
coming out of your comfort zone. I think that's
For
sort of
sure. For
topic
sure.
of the day, right? So no, it's
That's it.
awesome.
And of course, we use Riverside. We'd never used Riverside before.
Mhm.
There's the one thing, Frank, there's no podcast on influence that we could find. So
Yep.
we wanted something different.
Yep.
And that I in disc profile, mine's over 90%, which means
Wow.
I'm the extroverted extrovert. So
Yep.
I need humans, and
Mhm.
you're a bit the same. And so
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can't
yeah.
wait what your profile comes back at. But anyway,
Beautiful.
if you were me, Frank, if you had a podcast and you love
Yep.
talking to other humans,
Yep.
would you have someone in your mind that you think would be cool to talk to next? Pretty please.
Yes, I think I would.
Good. Cool.
Just going to try and think of who
That's
would be
okay.
a good one to talk through. Um,
And if you can't think of it now, that's fine. Just
I'll
maybe
come back
introduce
to
it
you.
to
Yeah.
me. Yeah,
Yeah, I
is that all
will.
right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
Lovely
yeah.
work, Frank.
I'll do that.
Cool. Mate, you've been amazing. You are such
Thanks,
a
Anton. Thanks for the opportunity.
you've been amazing, team.
Thank
That
you.
was Frank
Enjoy.
Losinno. Reach out to Frank if you need to know more. DS Australia, digital transformation, IoT, and an absolutely fantastic human. Thanks heaps, Frank.
Thanks, Anton. Cheers. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for listening or viewing our Find Your Influence podcast with Anton Guinea. Another great chat. Please be one of the 10% of people who follow and subscribe and like our videos so that you can get more of them and you can hear more of our amazing conversations, the conversations that I get to have and that I get to share.